Right, guys.
Let's make a start, yeah.
Let's make a start. Today we're gonna again have a round of questions. Anything that I'm not sure if everyone has a dog at home actually since last week. I know, Chris, that you have an
Everyone
older
here
fella.
does.
Yeah, Joe, you got a dog at the moment.
Yeah.
Who was that? Dacia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kathleen, you got. Who do you have at the moment?
Desmond.
Desmond. Violeta, you got anyone?
Yes, I have Chili.
Chile. And Anka and Rob, I know they do have dogs as well there. So today we're going to have a round of questions on your part. If there is anything that you need help with, anything that your dog is doing that you're not entirely sure.
Sorry, I'm late, guys.
Oh, okay. Hi, Richard. So I'm saying that we're going to have a round of questions, see if anyone has any doubts, anything that they want help with. Then we're going to learn a little bit about dog language, about what dogs do to communicate with each other, with you, what they do when they are under stress and how you can recognize that. We're going to talk a little bit about how they learn. By then, I probably have gone over an hour, okay? So I'll try to keep it short because there is something else I would like to show you. There is some photos that a Swiss school has posted. And later on, Rob, I'm not sure if he managed to show us these photos. Okay, so I got you all in a grid here. So I'm just going to go from my left to my right. You are the first one, Kathleen. You got any issues with the dog? Anything there that you would like any help with since we last talked? Kathleen. So.
Why me first?
Yes.
Not sure what question to ask you.
How is the gentle leader? Are you managing okay to put the gentle leader on him?
Yeah, he uses he's very glad to use it.
He's not backing off.
No, he's not backing off. He's quite happy to put his to put the gentle lead on. Yeah, he's quite happy. Yeah.
You like challenges, Kathleen?
Yes.
Okay, I've got a little challenge for you, okay, to practice this week. See if you can put the gentle leader on him with your eyes closed. Don't do it now, okay? Well, give it a shot, okay? If it's difficult for you, then we need to look at it.
Okay.
We'll use treats, okay?
Okay, with treats, yeah, sure.
Cool. Is that okay? Yeah? Do you mind me throwing this at you? Cool.
Perfect.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else, Kathleen? If you think of anything, just.
Sure. From what Dana told me, he tends to walk on the left side, to try to walk on the left sidewalk. He pulls to the left, basically.
He pulls away from you.
No. He has a tendency to pull to the left side when you walk on a straightforward road.
Okay. Have you noticed it? Sorry.
I thought it's because he was raised in the UK or something like that. It's possible.
Because he was.
He was raised in the UK, right? Yes.
Yeah.
The first volunteers who took care of him, were they from UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really picturing what he does. I'm not really sure what he actually. I see. You mean that when you're walking with the dog, you keep the lead on your left, and he's on your left side, and he just tries to pull away from you, to pull to the left.
He pulls you to the left side of the road.
He's walking on the left side. When you have a larger path than where you can walk, he prefers to walk on the left side of the path instead of on the right, like cars, I could say.
Okay. 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 See, you know, it will be very good if one day, I'm not sure if you're able to do this, can you go out in pairs? Are you allowed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you video it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, video it, and then we will see what's going on. But just bear in mind one thing: if a dog moves to the left or to the right or to whatever, it is for two reasons. One, it wants to get somewhere, or two, it wants to get away from something, somewhere. Okay? So remember, for example, if you got the wall on your left, you know, and he's keen to get to the wall, maybe it's because he wants to sniff the wall, maybe. Okay? So just remember, try to think as well, you know, on what situations you're having this behavior. Is he regardless of the wall being on the left or being on the right? There is anything on the left that, you know, a park on the other side of the road that where you go to, there is anything on the right that scares him, like maybe dogs barking on the fence or something. So just trying to, when it's happening, trying to think about it and maybe see if you can see a pattern. You know, if you see it's always when, whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, and if you can capture it in video, that would be super. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Joe, how is Dacia? Any issues? Anything there that you're not entirely sure?
Yeah, she's good. She's got a new fear, and that is bicycles.
Okay.
So no, not bicycles. If it's just a bicycle, she's okay. But someone cycling, she doesn't like it at all. It's just in the last couple of days. Nothing's happened. She's not had a bad experience with a bicycle. But if someone is cycling past us on the road, she doesn't like it, and we'll try and swing in to get away from him.
Exactly. I was going to ask you just that. What doesn't like it means? What does she do? What is she doing that makes you think?
She'll just try and get
she's
away
not
from
happy?
the bike.
Trying to get away from it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And again, a fast bike, a slow bike, a noisy bike?
It's only, I mean, it's happened 3 times, so I don't really know generally yet. Just, you know, a normal road cyclist, not the Tour de France or anything.
Okay. Okay. Again, try to, as much information as you can get, you know, in case that is just, you know, bikes, as I said, on the main road, bikes coming from behind, bikes that, you know, with guys with helmets or whatever, you know. But again, what you might want to do is if you see the bike coming, you know, you might want to offer her a treat before she's reacting and before she gets too worried about it, okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is that she'd be in a better mindset and frame of mind to get a treat and to get her focus on you rather than on the bike, okay? Yeah. Food is not going to reinforce fear, okay? Don't think that if I give her a biscuit, it's going to get more fearful because now I'm reinforcing. It doesn't work like that with rewards, okay? Okay. But what you might want to do is just maybe have a little handful of biscuits and let her eat in it, just keeping her just like this. Dolly. So I got 2 biscuits here, okay? And I just hold them there and I just let them sniff. Okay. Okay? And she's trying to get it, okay? But I just don't give it to her, okay? And then the bike is coming, and when the bike is coming, I give her 1, okay? And then the other one. Just trying to keep their minds away from it, okay? And if you can keep records of all these and pass it on to the guys in the office, brilliant.
Okay, I will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris.
Well, yes. I mean, it's different with me. It's all changed because the dog we have, Clinton, he's 10 years old and he's he's retired basically. He's done his stint as a guide dog, and we're kind of asking ourselves some questions. You know, what does a life of being a guide dog do to a dog? I mean, how do they come out of it? I mean, is he still kind of quite sort of ruled by the kind of regiment of his routine, or I mean, we're trying really hard to sort of kind of relax him now, and you know, we're not making him, or rather, we're not going out of our way to make him sit before he had his meals. You know, the discipline, we're sort of taking him off that.
Yeah, which is, I mean, different dogs might have a different lifestyle. Different guide dogs, they would be. This is just like having a job. If you have a very relaxing job, if you work, I don't know, in a quiet supermarket, in a village, and there's not a lot going on, you know, I mean, you know, you might be able to do that job for a long time. You might not put a lot of strain in your body, in your mind. If you work in the stock market in London, in the city, or in New York, you know, you might be able to do that until you get to 40, and then by 40 you either have a heart attack or you retire. You know.
Yeah, no, but even if you work in the stock market, you're going to have a vague interest in stocks and shares until the day you die, aren't you?
Exactly.
I mean,
maybe, yeah. You know.
But it's really interesting to be with a dog that clearly is at the top of his game. I mean, he does strange things, like, because we have to fill in these forms now before we go out. I often go for a walk and then 5 minutes later I have to come back and get the sodding form. And while I'm filling in the form, he walks towards me with his lead nicely folded up in his mouth, saying, you know, come on. Rob, I don't know if you found this when you had Clint, but he is organised. He's on the ball constantly. And it's really, really quite impressive. And it's, you know, it's clearly the result of, you know, the routine associated with being with a blind person for 6-7 years. And I mean, it's going to have an effect on him, but it's really quite impressive to see.
Exactly. I think you'll find all these are habits, you know, and habits and behaviors that have been reinforced for a long time, you know. When you get a young dog, a young puppy, you have a blank canvas kind of thing, you know, and the behaviors, you know, they might still be able to easily kind of, you know, change the direction of the behavior. But with an older dog,
it's a real shame you can't take the experience away from him and sort of inject it into a dog like, I don't know,
absolutely.
Like
and this is
or something like this, you know, pass it on, let it not go to waste. But
for a guide dog owner, this is because you get, when by the time that your dog is 6, 7, you know, your dog reads your mind and he knows exactly what he needs to do, but then little by little, you know, the health start to fail him, you know, and they start to have sore hips and they start to have this and that. And then you get a brand new sparkling dog, you know, all fit, you know, all, but it's a bit of a, you know, a bit of a youngster, you know, and still a little bit, and it takes time until they kind of get into a good behavior, a good routine and things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when we had the younger dogs, when we had Dylan, it was, I'd often look at Dylan and, you know, I could see that he was blissfully unaware of his destiny and his life of sort of servitude and kind of, I'm sure he has, I'm sure it's
the naivety of being young.
Labrador is a dog. I know, but a Labrador is a dog that clearly wants to please. It's eager to do the right thing. So it's a good thing. But to see a dog like this at the end, you know, at this stage, it's interesting because it's the full legacy of the cycle. I
think that the only thing that I will mention there, Chris, if you know, you're relaxing obviously a few of the behaviors and a few of, you know, the discipline and all that. But what we need to bear in mind as well is that this dog is just passing by you, and he's gonna. I'm assuming, I'm guessing, obviously, that it will be maybe home at some point, or we'll just. I remember the story. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Don't worry. I think this is going to be his last home.
Then is your dog, is your, you know, as far as he's, you know, fine, healthy, and all that, and as far as he fits into your lifestyle.
Yeah, no, it's different for us. It's different for us, and it's sort of, I mean, as I keep saying, it sort of suits me because I'm quite lazy, but it's nice, and
giving good quality of life, enjoy the
it's good
time that
fun
he's
here.
going to be with you.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun here, and we've got the garden, so
Yeah, exactly,
it's the main reason he's here, to be fair.
Cool. Right. Virgin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Any questions, any issues with your dog, anything that you need some help with?
No, and again, I'm in a bit of a different situation because Daisy has been selected for breeding purposes. I've tried working on keeping her attention or focus on me whenever there's another dog that we're about to cross. If I see the dog before her, then I can do that because I get her to sit, I have the treat in my hand, she focuses on me on the treat, she will turn her head, and you can see that it's very, it's a good exercise of self-control. So, but she's, most of the time she's really doing well. You can see she's like shaking, like, oh. So I have to remind her, yeah, there's the treat. If I don't see the dog before her, then it's trickier, let's say.
Yeah, you have to be on the ball.
So yes, if I would definitely, I'll continue doing that anyway because it's better training, and I want her to listen to me whether there's a dog or there's no dog. But yeah, it's we're a bit more lucky with her, I suppose, than the other volunteers with their dog, because as I said, she's supposed to be breeding. So yeah.
Okay. Super. Okay. Violeta, any questions? Any issues with the dog that you might have now, or anything that you might have had before and you weren't very sure about?
I have a small issue with Chili right now, and even if we tried to solve it, it's not solved yet. He scratches his muzzle, but his whole head, but most of the time it's around his mouth or ear. And we took him to a vet, and the vet said it's nothing wrong. She didn't see anything wrong, and I'm not sure why is he doing that.
Sorry, Violeta, I didn't get what is he doing?
He's scratching his head. Yeah.
Okay.
And
has it been seen by the vet?
Yes. And it seems like there's nothing wrong there. No irritation, no nothing to be a reason for him to scratch it.
Were you in the call last week?
Yes.
When we were talking about checking over and
ears and yeah, I did all of that, and the vet also did it, and everything seems right. The only thing that we thought it's I have spoken to Anka about that, and we thought he might be stressed about something. Mm-hmm. And I thought better about it, and he started doing that. After we had in the first week we had him, he didn't do that. But after our first call, our first webinar, you mentioned about the rewards and about the food to change the protocol of feeding him, and we started splitting the food in a small portion in the morning as we used to, a small portion in the evening, and during the day we give him some treats when he did something good. He already is a trained dog, so we hadn't much to train him, but with the small stuff, when he goes to his bed, or when he's walking very well on the street, or just for small treats. And we saw that starting from there, because he didn't have the same routine, he was expecting food every time he saw us.
Okay. When you
And
said that you're giving treats, are you talking about the dog's his own food or
yes, of
something
course.
different?
No, his own food, his biscuit. We just split it, the amount of food we had for morning in half, as we used to in his bowl, and the rest with small biscuits during the day.
Okay. Yeah, any scratching, the first thing that we might look at is if there is any physical reason for that, any health issue, any allergies. This is why it's very important that that you keep the same food all the time. That you don't giving anything from the table. You don't giving anything. It can happen obviously that if he's free running, he might get something else. But
not with Chili, because he's a good dog. He's not stealing anything from the table or not even trying. Yeah.
But if there is skin issues, I'm not talking about him, but sometimes you can get to a point when you actually need to do a food trial and see if he's actually reacting to any of the components of his diet. It's a very complicated thing because you cannot, he shouldn't get anything different because then you don't know what he's reacting to. But if the vet has seen him, if there is no other signs like ears, red ears, waxy, if there is no between the pads, if it's not too red. In black dogs, he's black, it's a bit more difficult to appreciate. Yeah. In yellow dogs, you can see pink, very strong pink, reddish, sort of interdigital pads. And that could be a sign of a skin issue. Stress, it could be another reason. This is a reason why some of the dogs do get a little bit more scratchy. And normally it tends to be an underlying health issue that gets accentuated with stress, just like in us, I get cold sores, like herpes kind of thing, on my lips when I get stressed. And I believe it's in my system, it's there, and it just comes out only when I'm a bit under stress, So I think the important thing is that you keep an eye on him, keep checking his ears, keep checking if he's scratching in a particular area, look at it, and trying to figure out, again, when is he doing it? Is he doing it all the time? Is he doing it when he's at home? Sometimes you can have these things. We used to see very little maybe at home, at work with them in the office, and it's just when they go home and they just relax a little bit and they might be a little bit bored, what do I do? What do I do? I'm just gonna scratch a little bit more. And then you start to, if you have an itch, and you're a bit bored, just all your attention goes to that. Okay.
We've seen him doing that mostly during our lunchtime. The only time he doesn't get any food, because for breakfast he almost joins us for breakfast. In dinner time he also has his dinner, but he does that mostly during our lunchtime, and especially when I cook and he smells something strong, like
where is he while you are cooking, or while you're having lunch? Where is he? Freely around the room? Is he on his bed? Is he in a different room? Where is he?
He's not allowed in the kitchen because it might be something dangerous for him there. He stays in his bed in the living room, or he stays in the kitchen's door, because he knows he's not allowed. He's just outside of the kitchen, but keeping an eye on us.
Okay. Do you give him any treats while you're having lunch? Do you give, or after lunch, for being a good boy? Is he anticipating? My question really goes about, is he anticipating to something that is going to happen, and it's just making him a little bit more?
Not at the beginning, but during the last 2 days, we tried to give him the Kong, the field Kong, during our lunchtime. And we saw that he stopped scratching. He didn't do that if he had the Kong, but that's a very big treat, so he was very occupied.
Okay.
But we tried to see if something changes, if he has the Kong during that time when he used to scratch himself.
Because it could be that it's just a little bit of, maybe in the past, maybe he had the opportunity to get some food when people were having lunch, and maybe he's just anticipating to that, and he's just getting a little bit, under stress because, oh my God, I might not. And by you giving him a cone, then just suddenly just diverting, you know, the attention from the table where you guys are to his cone, and maybe he's just not preoccupied. It probably might be something to do with that, and because obviously there is no other signs, and especially if it's been checked by the vet and they haven't found anything else, then we might think if we rule out the health side of things, then it might be behavioral. So again, trying to look at what's happening around that time. What is he getting? You know, what is he not getting? That might make him feel a little bit more worked up. If that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you. So.
Cool. Rob, any questions? Raluca, any questions? Anka, any questions?
Not right now. Let's we can carry on for now.
I'm okay as well.
Cool. Raluca,
Enjoy
any
the
questions?
session.
Raluca, all okay? I'm waiting. I'm not going anywhere. On your left-hand side, on the bottom, there might be a
Okay.
that's it. Try
now.
now.
I unmuted. Okay, so you know I have Betty.
Betty. Guide dog, Betty?
In training.
In training.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay.
What can I ask about Betty is she's a very distant dog, but at the same time she's very sensitive, or how you would say, sensitive. Yeah.
Sensitive.
And she's not staying alone by herself. If she goes outside, she's always has to be with somebody. She enjoys very much doing walks outside. But if you, let's say, if she's in front of the door, in front of the house, she's crying. Even if it's the mosquito, how you call it? Yes. Even in front of that, she's barking and wants to be somebody with her. She's asking too much attention if she's by herself for a second or not even half a second. Or if I'm outside, or it's so the opposite. If I'm outside and she's inside, she's like, you know, hey, you are leaving me here. It's, you know, for a dog of 5 years old, I'm not sure if it's...
More this would be. So it might require more work for you guys to change any behavior of an older dog. Okay. What does she have when you leave? What is she doing? Do you leave her with anything? Do you?
Yes, she has the cock, but she's not interested for it as long as it's not having, you know, something in it to preoccupy her.
The con needs to be filled.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how it's like. If not, it's like having a PlayStation not connected to the electricity. Okay.
Yeah.
Just by looking at the PlayStation, you know your kids are not gonna be entertained. Okay. Yes. And so if you know that you're gonna be leaving, or if you know, I will say if you can now, and since you know you're spending more time at home, don't wait until you are gonna leave, or you need to go somewhere, you need to go shopping or whatever to practice. You know, so fill the Kong, you know, give it to her, and then maybe go out just for 2 minutes. Okay, and we're trying to again maybe. If you have 2 cones or 3 cones, maybe put more food in there, less food in the bowl, more food in the cone, because in the bowl it's just gonna be hoovered and it's just gonna disappear in 5 minutes, even in 5 seconds. Okay. And the other thing is that try to maybe work on the bed command. I think we saw this in the office one day with Desmond actually. Because if your dog is not capable of staying on his bed alone while you're going to the bathroom for 1 minute and back, if your dog cannot do that and is not happy with that, there is no chance the dog is going to be happy when you leave him for half an hour or an hour or 2 hours if you go shopping. Okay, so to me, this is why, another reason why the bed command, sending your dog to bed, say in bed, your dog goes to bed and stays there until you tell them to move. This is why, to me, it's so useful, okay? Because it's your beginning, it's your first step for them to learn to be on their own, okay? So try to maybe work on that a little bit more. If you need a little bit more clarification on how to get it and how to get them to bed and how to start that, let me know. But definitely work on the bed. Make sure that you got the cones ready. The cones, if they're empty, they shouldn't be on the floor. The cone should be away. The only time that they should see a cone is when it's filled with something they're going to really enjoy, that is going to keep them occupied, and it's when you need it. Okay? So you want really to bring the cone out of the freezer and then they going, yes, kind of thing. Okay?
Yeah, and one more question. Betty is not drinking water. If I don't soak the food in the water, she will not drink all day long any drop of water. Is it okay? I mean,
if the dog is dehydrated, it's not okay. If the dog is, there will be dogs there that will be compulsive drinkers. I got a golden retriever here, which you give her 5 gallons and she will drink it in one go. And the other guys, Dylan, for example, here, is not too bothered with that. It's just not, he drinks, but so what you might want to just make sure is that there is enough fluids in the body. How to do that? Pinch their skin. Okay, so take a little bit of skin up, and if you see that the skin takes a little bit, with them, you can maybe grab them from here. It's short hair, yeah. So grab a bit of skin and see if it takes too long to come down. Okay, it's probably a little bit dehydrated. Okay, look at the poos. If they are too hard, very very crumbly, maybe solid, then maybe another sign of the dog being dehydrated, needing more water. Okay, they should have water available to them all the time. If they're not heavy drinkers, use the food, if you can, when you're feeding them, if you're feeding them by the bowl. Now maybe we need to balance things up, and maybe offer some food in the bowl and put water there. Okay.
Okay, like 3 times per day, let's say, to share a little bit.
Say again?
To share some food like 3 times per day, not 2 times. I mean, let's say even for the middle of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if just maybe, I mean, the less food in the bowl, the better, really. I mean, if you can find opportunities there to feed the dog, but then maybe one of the exercises is you call her and you have the bowl ready there. I mean, maybe just a little handful of treats, maybe 10 treats there, but maybe this much water.
Yeah.
Okay. But the first thing really that you want to see is look for signs of dehydration. I mean, how is the poo, for example? Is it very dry?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Even if she has the food with water.
Okay.
Plenty.
Look at the skin as well. Pinch on the skin, lift it up. See, if a healthy body the water gives you a lot of flexibility. It helps your muscles to move. It gets your skin, all nice and tight. And if it's dry, if the dog is dehydrated, the skin will just stay up a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again, and if it's health related, and if there is concerns there, a vet, maybe just give them a call. Something just maybe, I don't know how your vets will work, but sometimes just a little bit of advice on the phone might be enough, especially now in these situations. Is that helpful? Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. I'm not missing anybody else, no? I think that's everyone there, no? Cool. So, dog language, okay? And guys, I want you to speak up as well, okay? I want you to take part, okay? How do dogs communicate with each other? Anyone?
Barking.
By barking?
Barking, okay? Cool, let's start with that. Let's start with how they vocalize. You know what kind of things they, vocalizations, all right? So barking, okay? And what can they say with a bark?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello, are you a boy, a girl? What
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah,
They
okay.
sniff each other.
Yeah. Okay, so the bark, obviously, it depends on what kind of bark we have, but they can say from hello, they can say back off, they can say there is someone here, they can say, what's that? They can say, I'm not really sure about you. But all that, obviously, I've said that in the same tone, okay? And you're not gonna get me to bark here, okay? Just be clear. But an aggressive bark, you know, with a little bit more of a growl, you know, an inconsistent bark. Okay, how many of you, when you had someone knocking on the door, I'm gonna bark, and you know what's gonna bark. If somebody rings at the bell, they go woof, woof, woof. Okay, they don't go woof, woof, woof. Okay, that second woof is your I'm bored. I've been left there. You know, anyone there? Hello, hello, hello. Where the first one is a bit more of an alarm bark, you know, like, oh, what's that? What's that? Come on, somebody, guys, attention, kind of thing. Okay. So you have all different barks. Okay. What else do they vocalize? What other things will come out of their mouth?
Whimpering.
Whimpering. Okay. And when will they whimper, you think?
Whining and whimpering.
When?
Hello.
Hello. Can
Frozen.
You're frozen. Yeah. We can hear you, but you're not moving. You're just doing this dance movement like that. Right. Somebody else. Whimpering, whining. When will they do that?
So I know last year I was doing a research project and I had to stay a long time in front of my computer, and once in a while Daisy would she'd be bored and she'd come to me like, are you going to play with me now? And so I would tell her no or something, just wait a little bit. Or during a conference as well, I would take her to conferences and things like that, and halfway through the conference she would look at me and just say, and she would just say it once and then that would be finished. It would be good for another hour, but she just expressed that, okay, that was getting a little bit boring.
Sounds a little bit like attention seeking, yeah? So they're like, say, oi, you, I'm bored, are you there? Let's do something, kind of thing.
Please do that again, Virginie, that was great. I'd like to...
They could do that a little bit of, you know, if they're in pain as well, but again, it might be a different kind of whining, you know? You might feel that there is something not quite right there, okay? So yeah, what else can come out of their mouths?
I have a situation with Desmond. When we meet small dogs, they bark very aggressively, and Desmond has a tendency to bark, but a silent bark. He looks like he wants to bark, but he suppresses his this thing that
I think, Catherine, the best thing for us to understand that is by you barking as well.
He tries to bark, but
nothing comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like a squeaky noise.
Okay.
I don't know how to reproduce it.
That was really good, I must say, okay? You might need a little bit more practice, you know, and just be confident when you bark, you know, we're all friends here, you know, but anyway. Again, that it might be just maybe not quite sure, you know, like, oh, where are you? Are you talking to me? Are you wanted to, you know, pick a fight with me? But again, you know, these different kind of barks. I think what you need to, and I'll keep repeating this, we need to look at all in context. Okay, so just one thing might not means necessarily what you think. Okay, so we need to look at the body language, we need to look at the situation, we need to look at, you know, what the other dog is doing. Okay, but yeah, that would be maybe a combination between whining and barking, maybe.
Yeah, he does this consistently with these two dogs. These two dogs are at the balcony of the ground floor of our entrance in the block, and they interact with each other every single time. And until I open the door, the dogs are barking, and he watches them, and he wants to bark. He watches me, he watches them, he wants to bark. He but pulls out a squeaky noise, a squeaky bark, and nothing comes out eventually. But
you know what I will do, Kathleen? If, you know, before the barks come out or any noise come out, and before he's reacting, take a treat, put it there, take the mind away, okay?
Yes,
and what you're rewarding is that, yeah, well done, yeah, it's just not reacting to it, you know? And if you didn't do anything, probably he just might, and just stand there, he just might get more and more involved with the dogs, and you might see that he starts to maybe more barking might come out and more louder, sounder, you know, confident bark might come out. So yeah.
We've never heard the Desmond barking. Not even a small bark, I could say.
Yeah.
He's just trying to repress the barking. When today I went with him, and after number 2, I was struggling to take the bag and take the poop, and a cat walked by. The cat was all puffed, and he looked at the cat, and the same squeaky noise, looking at her, looking at me. I said, no, and good boy. I managed to pick up the poo, and the cat just passed by. He didn't bark. It was just a squeaky
But it's good,
noise.
I think, because it's like what Virginia was saying about her dog. You know, the dog's just showing a little bit of self-control there. You can see that they're really working hard not to focus on the cat, on the dog, you know. And when they're looking at you, you know that the mind is split in two, you know. So what we want to do is to reinforce that half of the mind that is on us, you know, what we don't want to reinforce is the other one that is on them, you know. So yeah. Growling. Who can tell me anything about growling? When do they growl?
She never growls, ever, ever. Even when there's 15 dogs, feral dogs around us, she still doesn't growl. They do, but she doesn't.
Have you ever heard a dog growling?
Yes, I've heard a dog growling. I've been
in which situation?
For example, if it's a male dog and he's not nurtured and he meets another male, there's going to be some growling going around. I've heard dogs growl at her, but she's very submissive. She just rolls on her back, all fours in the air, and she doesn't growl. She's never growled.
So what do you think? Let's talk about, rather than talk about your individual dogs, let's talk about general dog language, okay? What do you think growling means? Anyone? Virgin or?
It means I'm the alpha male.
Okay. There is any case when it doesn't mean I'm the alpha male?
I feel threatened.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, okay. Any other situation when they might growl?
Just like get away from it.
Sorry, Rob. If they feel as though they're really being left out, will they growl? Like, hey, look at me. You know, I am here.
Could be that, you know, it might be a little bit of attention seeking there, and they just go.
I know my children do that, so maybe I'm confusing them.
Have you ever seen two dogs playing?
Yes.
And have you heard any growling?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, you don't need to understand much about dogs to realize that when the two dogs are playing and they growl, that growl has a very different connotation to another one when just precedes a fight, for example.
But Paco, they'll growl when they're playing while wagging their tail. So it's
exactly. So the actual growl will be different. It's not gonna be as deep, you know. And as you're saying, there will be other signs there. Okay, and we're gonna run through these signs, hopefully if we got time, okay? But if they're gonna pick up a fight, you will have, they might show teeth as well, the body might be lowered, the ears might be back, or they might be up, depending on, again, depends on what they want to say, okay? So not all the bark means there is someone trying to break into the house. Not all the growling means I'm gonna get into a fight with you. It depends on the tone, how they bark, how they growl, and depends on the context as well, right? What do wolves do? Vocalization wise.
They howl.
Howl, well done. Rob, I wasn't looking for that, Rob. Joe, well done. Rob, thank you for the demonstration.
Show
Howling. Howling, okay? So again, that's another vocalization that we don't see a lot in dogs, okay? You might hear it if there is an ambulance passing by or a siren, or if you play the piano or the flute and they just start to join in. You might not find a lot of that, okay? And that it might be just, I'm here, you know? It's just a bit of like, you know, hello, you know, whoever picks up the message, you know, then we can have a conversation. So
the only other noise I've heard is I'd describe as a groaning, like a.
Okay, and when do you have that?
Mostly kind of like just lying down, lying around, say in bed.
Yeah. Again, and it's the same that you guy might do, you know, just when you're waking up, when you're just about to go to bed, you go like, oh. You know, so yeah, it's just similar, very similar. Ears forward. What do they mean?
Like that? I'm sad. Like forward, like this, like down.
Forward, as in coming up, you know, like this. Okay.
Because I mean, if she turns her ears like this, so with the inside of her ear towards me, like an L.
We'll get to that in a minute, Virgin. We'll get to that in a minute. If they are, this is the normal flap ear, okay, and then they suddenly go alert, okay. This is like a radar, okay, and suddenly, you know, they just kind of focus on that. You say, oh, what's that? Okay. With German Shepherds, for example, it's very clear because you can see them, you know, just the normal might be like that, and they just go boom. And sometimes you get one point like that, boom, you know, what's that over there? You know, this one is paying attention to this one is paying attention to that. So yeah, it's just they're focused on something, okay? If they are back, what do they mean? If they're like that normal and they just go like that on the back?
Sad, no?
Say again, Virgin?
When they're sad?
When they are, sorry, what?
Sad.
Sad, okay. Yeah, let's be careful with, you know, let's try not to humanize the dogs, okay, too much, okay? We could have a philosophical question here, you know, debate about if they are sad, if not, if they're angry. Let's talk about maybe they're concerned about something, okay? They're suddenly not quite sure, they might be a little bit fearful. Okay, and again, let's be very careful with, you know, let's try not to turn human emotions into them, okay? But yeah, they might be fearful, okay? If they think they're gonna get attacked, for example, all their body sort of gets compressed into, you know, they're trying to put the ears away, you know, so they might be less likely to get nipped, okay? Tail, that's the big one in dogs, okay? A tail up like that, very, very high, okay? So this is the dog, okay? And the tail just go boing, and very tense, okay? Pointing to the sky. What does it mean?
He's very curious. He sniffs. He's alert. He's curious.
Okay.
He needs
sorry, Chris?
He needs a poo?
And
Not necessarily, but again, if we look into the context, you know, if he's
Very
7 o'clock
happy.
in the morning and then start to spin around, you know, and he's not looking at any dogs, you know, maybe, yeah. But normally
it's like-
that would be a sign of they're making themselves strong. They're making themselves, you know, I'm talking about a tail that goes up like that, you know, there is no wagging, just sort of
Attention.
they get very tense, and they probably, you might see this, you know, approaching another dog, you know, they might have a very short walk into them, you know, the head is up, you know. It would be very different to a tail that will be maybe just wagging like this, maybe low, medium carriage to high, okay? That would be a different thing. That would be more like, hey, no worries, mate, I'm just want to be friends, okay? If the tail is the same, but very, very low, again, you might have a dog that is a bit more submissive. It's just like, oh, I'm just don't want any trouble, just no one to confront anyone here, just, okay? And a normal tail carriage, you know, it just might just be, some dogs might have a natural higher carriage. There will be some breeds out there, like Huskies, for example, that will have their tail curl a little bit onto their backs. But yeah, the higher, the more confident the dog will be, the lower, and this is a very simplistic way to put it, the lower, the less confident the dog will be, okay? And body, okay? Again, a body that, you know, if you see someone wanting to pick a fight with somebody, they're not gonna approach, you know, somebody like this, you know, they're just gonna go like that, you know? So if you pair that with a growl, a deep growl, with showing teeth, okay, and the tail going like that, then you know that that dog is just, it's not gonna back off. It's going to confront someone, okay? Any questions so far?
One really quick one, Paco.
Please.
Is it weird, or is it completely normal that Delta is basically silent? She never barks, she doesn't groan, she doesn't whimper, like, apart from the fact that she's got her chain on around her neck, she's basically a ninja.
She's a very, very sensitive dog, okay? Yeah. And there would be dogs there that, it's like, remember when we were in school, and there would be the quiet one that, you know, it would, you know, it wouldn't mingle with other people, it would just be quiet, it would be there, you know, but, so I think this is her, okay? Is it normal? You got very confident dogs that would be just barking and you know, vocalizing, and I think this is, just shows her character a little bit, and there is a bit of lacking confidence there, and that applies to everything.
Okay.
Including, you know, can I bark, kind of thing, you know. But our dogs, you know, the Labradors that we normally use and the guide dogs, they tend to be relatively quiet. Tend to be. There will be exceptions there, you know, but it's you don't really want to have a very noisy guide dog when you're working in an office, you know.
No.
So.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So how is everyone doing? This is an hour nearly now. Okay.
Okay, one question before anything else. I have a curiosity. Why and how do you make the guide dogs not to bark, to be silent? And many people are curious why they don't bark, and I'm curious as well. Why then they don't bark, and how do you make them not bark?
Ask Jo. She successfully has trained Dacia to not to bark anymore. No, as I said, this is one of the attributes that we are looking into a dog, you know, that is a dog that is quiet. For the good reasons, not necessarily because it's just very, very, very sensitive and it's just not daring to vocalize, but just because it's a dog that is content, is happy with the world around them, there is nothing there for them to, you know, to feel that they need to express any sort of emotion. They're like, yeah. So a good socialization as well, it helps, you know, just to make so, because one of the reactions of a dog when they're unsure might be growling, might be barking, might be going like, I'm not sure, what's that? Okay, so a dog that doesn't have any reasons to feel like that because it's been properly socialized, it will result in a dog that is just quieter. And when it sees something, it's like, oh yeah, well, I've seen that before, yeah. Okay, so they might not feel that they need to bark. Okay. The other thing would be that you could reinforce that. You could reinforce the dog that, you know, we've been talking about rewarding the dog before they react and before they engage with another dog or before they engage with a cat. Okay, so you can just reward that behavior of being quiet, which again, it might not be, depending how you look at it, it might not be the actual behavior of being quiet. It just might be the actual behavior of just, I'm not paying attention to that. So because that is what might make me bark, but because my focus is on you, I'm just ignoring that. Therefore, this is not going to trigger a bark because I'm just looking at you. And if I look at it, I say, oh, just another dog, or just another beanbag. If that is answering your question at all.
Yeah. Mostly, yeah.
Calm, relaxed dogs, and we don't encourage the barking. A lot of the things that guide dog work is actually the most anti-natural job for a dog. Okay, a police dog that chase people and bite them, you know, is a very natural behavior. You know, they love to chase, they love to bite. You know, and there will be breeds that will have that behavior more highlighted than others. Okay, drag dogs, they love to sniff. You know, it's a very natural dog behavior, and they will be sniffing all day. You know, sheep dogs, they'll be herding all day. You know, but you know, guide dogs, we don't really want them to, you know, to be in an office barking their head off every time that someone comes in. We don't want them to go around knocking their legs on cars. We don't want them to chase cats because that is going to put the guide dog owner on the road. We don't want to chase balls. Okay, so a lot of the things that is that how don't you do that, or how do you stop them doing that? More than stopping the dog from doing it, it's just we don't encourage it. Okay, so we don't go to the park and keep throwing balls there, because what we might get is a guide dog owner that tries to cross, you know, walk by the park, and the dog just goes mental when there is people playing football. Okay, if the dog barks, we don't go, oh, good boy, what's that? Oh, what's that? Come on then, come on, let's go to the door. You know, like if you have a big German Shepherd and you want the dog to, you encourage the dog to be vocal because you feel safer if you have a dog like that. We don't do that. Okay, we don't just go around walking around the square or your block and just letting him pee wherever they want. We get them to relief before they go for a walk. Okay, so it's just a different sort of attitude that you take with the dog, and a lot of discouragement. If you discourage it, there will be less chances from it happening, and therefore less reasons for you to have to get on the dog for doing something that you didn't want to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is everyone still awake? Guys, I got loads of stuff to talk about, but it's 7:05, and I got stress in dogs. I got how dogs learn. I'm not sure if I can maybe show if everyone, whoever needs to go or had enough, then please do. Rob, if you have time, do you have time, Rob? 10 minutes, I promise no more than that.
Yeah, that's okay.
And whoever wants to leave, don't worry, guys, I won't take it personally. But I want to show some photos of volunteers in Switzerland with guide dogs, okay? And the post says, you know, our volunteers have been working really hard with our dogs, okay? So I want you to look at the pictures. If Rob can just keep passing, scrolling the pictures, okay? And I want someone to tell me what's the common denominator here. What can you see? It's the same thing in all the pictures.
The dog is looking at the person.
Okay, and not necessarily. Some of them are, okay?
And they're always on the left, and they're always very close to the leg.
Okay, that's better, yeah. Okay, and what I like, Regine, is that they're very close to the leg.
And they're
okay?
sitting.
They're all sitting, and they're all facing, apart obviously from looking at the handler, but both the handler and the dog are facing the same direction. Okay, so both of them are, cool, Rob, thank you. So both of them are sitting parallel to each other, okay? Why is this important, okay? When we are working with the guide dogs, imagine that you get to a down curb and the dog is trained to, in Romania, we train them to sit at the down curb, okay? And if the dog was sitting in front of you, crooked, okay, so this is me, and this is my, you can see that on the left, probably no, it's on the right. But anyway, if the dog was like that, okay, and I set off, I'm just gonna step on the dog, okay? So when the team, this is the dog, this is the client, or your guide dog owner, when they set off, both of them, they set as a unit, as a team, together, like that, okay? So if you're sitting there, they haven't started walking, and they're already, and things are going pear-shaped already. Okay, one is looking that way, the other one is looking that way. Okay, so have you ever had a dog, or has your dog ever sit in front of you? If maybe you might have never thought about this before, but have you had that before? I see Joe nodding, Chris never had that. Regine, yes, no, maybe. Okay. This is why a dog will sit in front of me. Okay, I'm just gonna give me a sec. Only meet one of you. Okay. So this is Dylan. Dylan is on my left, okay, but I'm not sure if he's gonna show on my left in front of you. Okay, so okay, Dylan. So Dylan is gonna be here. This is my hand. See where my hand is? Good. Okay, if I have, think about this sequence, hand, dog, leg. So if I, okay, see even the head is looking slightly to the left, but that head is gonna make the body straight, okay? Sit. Okay, so he's there and I just treat, good, from here, from his left hand, from his left side. Because if you treat with your right hand and you treat here, where is he now? In front of me. Okay, so treat, if you can, treat with your left, good boy, to your bed. Well done. Treat with your left hand, okay? Keep the dog on the left and remember this sequence, okay? First is if you look at it, hand, dog, leg.
I have a question. The lead, we should hold it with our right hand?
If you're gonna reward him, put it in the right. If you want to walk around, keep it on the left. You know? The dog should be able to walk on the left, even if you hold the lead on the right. But the thing is that if the lead is too tight, you are gonna pull the dog in front of you as well.
Yes.
Okay. So what I do, and it might require a little bit of practice until it becomes second nature, but I have the lead on my left, and when I'm gonna reward, I swap the lead very quickly. Okay, lead on my left, walking, swap the lead, get a treat, and reward. And again, see that gap that I got here? Okay, that's where the dog goes.
When you practice the Paco, when you practice the call, you know, you were showing that you had a treat in your hand with a closed fist, and the dog needs to touch the hand, and then you release. In that situation, the dog, it's a different positioning, right? Because the dog is coming towards you, so you don't have to have the dog come and look behind and be in between, right?
When you are calling your dog, you want your dog to make contact with you somewhere safe, which will be slightly away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's what I've been doing.
And the reason why I say on the right hand is simply because it gives you your left hand, keeps your left hand free, which is the one that is going to grab the collar.
Okay.
But if you need to clip the lead on the dog, most people are right-handed, and they're going to find that easier with the right hand.
Okay.
So because by the time that you have grabbed your dog's collar with your left, you release the biscuit, and then you can get the lead if you need to clip the dog.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you, if you have dogs at home, okay, I want you to try to, when you're walking, you know, keep them on the left, okay? Just stop and say sit. Give them a little bit of lead, loose lead, okay? So they have the freedom to, if they want to go ahead, they might go ahead. But this is just a test, okay? And for you to see where the dog is gonna sit. And I'm sure there will be at least one dog that is just is not gonna stay on the left, okay? It might be a dog there somewhere that is just gonna sit in front of you, okay? There is no need for the dog. In guide dog work, we never need a dog to sit in front of us, never. They always need to be on the left. There is no need for them to be sitting facing me, okay? Cool. Right, guys, any questions? Fantastic. Have a lovely evening. And next week will be the last one, okay? So there is loads of topics really to talk about, okay? But I would like to, I'll see if maybe if I just touch, we'll do the same, have a round and see if anyone has had any issues. We can, Catalin can maybe show us a video of the dog walking, or even his, you know, shutting his eyes kind of challenge, putting the gentle leader on, if he's ready by then.
Yep.
No pressure, Catalin?
No pressure. Dana and me also try to walk and with our eyes closed when we walk with Desmond to see, to exercise, to exercise more with him.
Okay. That would be really, really good if you want to end in hospital. Okay? So my advice would be, don't worry about it, okay? As far as the main thing with him is make sure that he's happy having the gentle leader on, make sure that he pees and poo where he needs, make sure that he doesn't get involved with other dogs. If you can get that, that would be absolutely fantastic. So probably focus on that. When the dogs are on lead, they do no work. They're not working. They're not guiding anyone, okay? And you could be putting him in under pressure thinking that, well, as soon as you close your eyes, your balance change, your gait is gonna change, the speed that you walk is gonna change, and then suddenly he's gonna just feel a little bit anxious because suddenly just like, what's going on with you, Kathleen? You know, you've been drinking this morning, okay? So just don't worry about that. As I said, spending, gentle leader on, and keeping focus on you with other dogs, and recall if you want to, you know, that if you guys can work on that. Okay, yes. let the blindfold walks for Anka and Rob, they're in short, if you know, and okay. And we can quickly replace them. You know, we got lots of them in the office.
Got it. Thank you.
Cool. Right, chaps. I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much, Paco. It's great.
No problem at all.
Brilliant job. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, buddy.